And good morning. It's 7:04 on this Tuesday, May 30th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. The sun is shining on this next to the last day of May, and we welcome you to our program this morning, which is brought to you by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. And as we do on these particular Tuesdays when we don't have a medical professional, we bring you a healthy minute from Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Colon cancer is the second deadliest cancer in the U.S. In recent years, colon cancer is being detected in younger people at higher rates. Colon cancer does not show symptoms, but it may cause frequent stomach pain, blood in the stool, and unexpected weight loss. Here are 5 habits to help prevent colon cancer. 1. Exercise regularly and maintain a healthy weight. 2. Incorporate lots of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains into your diet. 3. Limit your intake of red meat and animal fats. 4. Don't smoke tobacco and limit how much alcohol you drink. 5. Make sure you're getting enough vitamin D. In addition to these habits, it's important to get regularly screened for colon cancer. The American Cancer Society recommends people with an average risk for colorectal cancer start regular screening at age 45. For more information, visit VanderbiltWilsonCountyHospital.com. And again, you want to choose Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, because of their comprehensive services. From the delivery of more than 600 babies to more than 6,000 surgical procedures each year, they offer personalized quality care close to home. Their care is recognized. The hospital is fully accredited by the state of Tennessee and the Joint Commission. In addition, they have received national quality awards, including designation as an accredited chest pain center, a stroke center, and a comprehensive weight loss center. And the commitment to the community. The economic impact of this community is wonderful. It as far back as 2018, it exceeded $58 million, including $14 million in charity and uncompensated care. With more than 200 physicians and over 600 employees, they're one of the community's largest employers. Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. On this Tuesday, I want to welcome my friend and old buddy, Uncle Pete, Pete Norman IV. Good morning.
Good morning, Wilson County and the surrounding areas. This portion program today is being brought to you by the veterans of Wilson County. You know, you can't reach out without touching one.
Pete, it's good to see you this morning.
I want to throw a little accolade made in there for Vanderbilt. Almost a year ago, my wife and I were headed towards our farm, and she had what appeared to be a stroke. I turned around in the middle of the road, punched 911 on my automatic dial system, and they connected me with the emergency room at Vanderbilt here at Lebanon. I told them I was inbound with a stroke patient. They met me in the turnaround at the emergency room with a stroke shot and a gurney. Within 21 minutes, they had my wife on a medevac helicopter going to Vanderbilt in Nashville. She had a tumor about the size of a softball in her head. They removed it about 2.5 weeks later after shrinking it. And today she is a different person. She is active. It did change a few things. She used to never be an early riser. Now she gets up at 4 in the morning. But she's gardening. She's doing anything she wants, all because Vanderbilt cares.
Well, certainly we appreciate that, and I know the hospital does too. As we say sometimes, they made a happy camper out of you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I have the distinction of being the first medevac to land in Vanderbilt.
Really?
Yes, sir. I was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky with a 532nd medevac unit. We had a early morning accident, and a lady had a brain trauma. No one knew where Vanderbilt was in Nashville but me. I was coming off. So I said, I can find Vanderbilt. That ain't no problem. He said, well, where would you land? And I said, tell them get off football field. I'll land at the football field. And so I actually landed in the practice field. I did my approach right through the goalpost and made a left-hand turn and landed in the practice field. They carried the lady in. She had surgery and lived. And when I got back, I had to find her husband because they gave me all of her rings that were on her finger.
Oh.
But yeah.
What a story.
Yeah.
Well,
They have a picture of my helicopter at about a 20-degree angle pulling pitch to land.
Yeah.
Up in their thing, and I've given them the names of everybody that were with me, my medic and my crew chief and my co-pilot.
Your father, being the big Vanderbilt fan he is, would be proud of you.
Oh, absolutely. He asked me every now and then. I told him about Marianne going,
Yeah.
and he said, "Boy, Vanderbilt's just going and going and going." I carried him over one day, and we drove around Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Because they've been buying, if a house comes for sale in the neighborhood around Vanderbilt buys it. Smartest move in the world.
Yeah.
And then they expand into it.
Well, we need to talk about yesterday being Memorial Day.
Yes, sir.
And the celebration and all that you were.
Not a
part of it.
celebration, a remembrance.
A remembrance.
A
Okay.
remembrance.
All right.
And I talked about my roommate when I was in flight school, Robert Long, was in with me and Kenny, and Robert was a flamboyant joker, always had a joke, always trying to outtell somebody else's joke, and he died within the first 30 days of being in Vietnam. And he's on the wall. He's also on my wall at the truck stop, and he'll be someone who will always be 22 years old in my mind and always telling jokes. But we had a really good program. The commander, Stump, the president of Cumberland University, was our guest speaker, and he told a story about how the airport in Chicago, O'Hare Airport, where it got its name. And would you guess that the son of the World War II Medal of Honor winner was Lucky Louie, the attorney for Al Capone?
Didn't know that.
And Capone killed him because he decided that his son needed somebody to look up to, and he decided he couldn't do what he had been doing, and he was on the way to give himself up to the FBI and testify, and they gunned him down in the streets. But what they didn't know was he had mailed all the information the day before. So even after death, he testified. And his son became a really good man. He accidentally saved a fleet. His son
Saved a what?
The fleet. His son was a naval aviator. They took off of an aircraft carrier, started going to an attack, and he noticed that he had forgot to check his fuel. That's a pilot's responsibility to dipstick and check your fuel. He tells his commander, who told him to go back. Well, he didn't want to, but he did. So he climbs up to about 30,000 feet, and he's flying back, and he notices a flight of Japanese Zeros and dive bombers under him going to attack. They had backflown the fleet, the planes coming out. So they were going to attack the carrier and the group around it. Now, he's one guy with two 40-millimeter cannons and two 30-millimeter cannons on his aircraft. He dives into their formation. They had no idea that he was above them. The first pass takes two planes out and tears up some others. He makes goes under them, comes back up under them, takes two more out, and messes up another 4 or 5. He climbs up and does an over barrel roll, and right back in he goes. At this point, the Japanese decided there is a whole squadron after them. He takes out the 5th one, which makes him the first ace in World War II. He got 5 aircraft in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
They've turned tail and run. So he lands and tells the ship commander. He gets the Navy Cross. He gets the Congressional Medal of Honor, and he gets some other acclamations. But 2 months later, he was killed in action. And O'Hare Airport is named in his honor. If you ever fly into O'Hare, go between Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, and there he stands, and it tells the story to include his dad, who made him a good man.
All right, great story. We've got a lot more to go.
Yes,
We've just got started, but it's time for us to take a break. Our program is presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to our friends at Absolute Kubota, big sales blitz. 2 days left, 0% financing for 84 months on most models. Plus, add an attachment to your tractor, get implement bonus bucks up to $800 off, or take a cash discount of $2,400 on select models. For in-stock models only, the blitz will end May 31st. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still slower than normal coming up from Williamson County, Brentwood, Franklin on 65 northbound from that earlier wreck we had just before OHB. Again, expect a little bit of an extra delay coming up through Williamson County on 65 northbound. Again, it was from that earlier crash. 24, an accident just happened in the Hickory Hollow area. They're trying to move it, and all this is going to do is aggravate that traffic flow that's coming in now from Rutherford County on 24 westbound. Again, give yourself a little bit of extra time if you're leaving Murfreesboro, headed towards Nashville. Hey, it's time to call Crest Pest Control. They do way more than your average pest control company. Check them out online at crestpestcontrol.net. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Hey, it's Peyton Aldridge from The Voice. I'll be performing my new single, American Backyard, at the Ultimate Barbecue and Country Music Festival, Barbecue Country Fest 2023, June 3rd at Wilson County Fairgrounds. There will be plenty of food trucks, bourbon, and beer tasting, live music, and free parking, so get your tickets today at bbqcountry.com. You're in barbecue country, y'all.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Coleman and Company here on a Tuesday morning. When we have a Monday holiday, Tuesday seems so much like Monday. But we have to adjust, and we do. Anything else about yesterday you want to talk about?
We had an outstanding crowd, over 100 people. I got lost when I got up, when I had to take my shoes off to count. But it was, and had people from World War II, people from Korea, people from Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, all that group. Had a wonderful young lady from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, an aviator. She works on helicopters, sang the national anthem, and she did an outstanding job. She hit notes I can't even write that high. But we did all the things that we always do, but we honored the fallen. Mm-hmm. We honored the people who have served. Some give all, or all give some give all.
Right.
And got a couple of new exhibits in the museum. Doc Kraft gave an entire collection of Booney weapons and Booney stuff that you had in Vietnam. Doc is holds some Purple Hearts that he received while treating people under fire in Vietnam. We've got 4 medics in our group that all received Purple Hearts while treating. So that's dedication.
Yes.
That's the love of fellow man.
Yeah.
But Doc's up in his 80s. His daughter had it made and put it out there, and it's really nice. It's really nice. If you haven't gone to the museum, you need to go.
Yeah.
But Speaking of going, our building, which will be the Lebanon Veterans Center, is coming on fast. It's going to be located over at the old fire hall at Hartman Drive and the railroad track. And somebody said, "Well, we're on Hartman Drive." I said, "You know where the railroad track is?" He said, "Oh, I know where that's at. Yeah, Hartman Road and the railroad
hadn't
track."
heard it expressed that way.
Well, you got to be a little bit.
Otherwise, Hartman Drive and the bypass, or Badua Park.
Well, but people won't remember that, but they'll remember Hartman and the railroad track. And we're going to be putting flags up for the different branches. We're going to be putting a nice American flag up. We're going to be doing some landscaping and stuff. It's got to have a new roof. We're dividing the bathroom, which had showers in it, to a men's and women's handicap accessible bathroom. We've got to put one ramp in to make it more handicap accessible inside. With it being a fire hall, it had a little step down, but we're taking care of all that. It will be a place where veterans can just go to be vets, to just talk.
What's the first thing? You haven't done hardly anything yet, have you?
No, we hadn't done much of anything.
Yeah. But
And done much of anything.
I passed by there yesterday, in fact, and Helen and I talked about it for a minute. And I didn't see anything really visible. But how much on the outside is going to be changed anyway?
Some of the appearance, some of the bushes and things are going to go away for flags. I've got a metal urgent who is going to make me a cutout of some soldiers that we're going to put up. I want to put up front. This is something that I'm going to pay for, but it's sort of like the painting on the wall there by the Veterans Building, but it'll have 5 soldiers, and it'll be a shadow. But mainly, just cleaning windows, painting stuff on the outside, putting up flags. It will have enough parking for small groups. We have got permission from the rubber company that has that big parking lot beside us to utilize that if we needed it any time, to just let them know. And they said they don't never use it, so we can have larger events there. When we have our grand opening, trust me, everybody will know, because I will tell you. We're going to have a ribbon cutting with the mayor and the council and the engineers and the people that have come together to help this become.
In your best estimate, how far away is that? Ribbon cutting?
This time next year, we'll be talking about it in the past tense.
All right.
We will have been there.
Well, I sure hope so.
We have, I'm slowly standing down with Uncle Pete's truck stop. My children have taken up the mantle pretty good, and I'm going to slowly step down because there's certain things that I want to see get done while I can see them get done.
Yeah.
One of them, young people coming out of the military have a terrible time adapting because they have basically been living with somebody telling them, do this, do that, stand at attention, wear this, wear that. They get out, and it's all of a sudden, these are your decisions now. And it sometimes can be hard.
Let me ask this. Is that harder, the longer you've been in, the harder it is necessarily? Or
You reach a peak where it's no longer. Because once you get up into the senior NCOs and senior officers, you're making the decisions.
Yeah.
You are the decision maker. So it's easier for them because they have pre-planned, and they probably bought them a home in Florida and have been renting it out all these years so that it's paid for, or Colorado or whatever. So they have planned for this. But if you get somebody that comes in on a 4-year hitch and then does a 2-year extension or something, they might have made E5 to E6. They're still being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've got a wife and 1 or 2 children.
Yeah.
So when they get out, they have to adapt quickly to civilian life. And, one of them is try to find a place with 2 children in Wilson County for under $1,500 to $2,000.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a place get built. And I have a place in mind. Haven't talked to the people that own it yet, but It's a place where I could put 12 habitat houses, and I want to put 12. I want to do a cul-de-sac and put a playground in the cul-de-sac. I want to fence it in to a degree that it's not a prison or nothing like, but it's safe for children. And I'll even name the street after the people who own the property. But it's a place where, and I want to rotate. I want young guy in the first house, older veterans in the second, then young, then old. That gets the kids' grandparents, instant grandparents. It gets wisdom to the young guys. It gives you a flow. I've seen this happen, and I think it's just the neatest thing in the world once you get it done to see it happen. My car won't start. Well, come here, son. Let's see what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
There it is, Grandpa, Daddy. But it also gives them a reason to carry on. You know, these are people that need your help. You know, you need to take your medicine. You need to go to the VA. We had a lady at the meeting yesterday from our women's veterans home who is 81 years old, served in Vietnam, and just as nice a lady as you ever want. We have 3 in the home right now. Most people don't even know it exists, but it's there. It's second chances. We're giving some of these elderly vets who are on the street or in the hospital and have no place to go. That's wrong. That's wrong. In a country the size of this, in the beauty of America, why would we leave an elderly veteran behind? There's no reason. There's no reason at all. And as long as I live, we ain't going to.
Well, you're going to be doing fundraisers.
Yes, sir. We're going to do fundraisers. Next year, on the 3rd Saturday of May, we're going to do a marathon. If the good Lord...
Is that a special day?
Yes, sir. I'm glad you asked that question. Armed Forces Day.
I thought, okay, but I was afraid to say it. Armed Forces Day.
And that gets everybody that has ever been in the military in any branch, every branch. We're going to do a traveling trophy for the commanders. It'll be called the Commander's Trophy. We're going to invite Fort Knox, Fort Campbell, the Naval Air Station in Memphis, Tullahoma, the Air Force down there, which also has a squadron of the Space Force. We've invited, or I've contacted somebody in the Coast Guard that works on the Mississippi River to see if any of those might want to come. We haven't done it, but we're going to send an invitation to the Corps of Engineers because they've got a general that's in charge of that, and they've got a group. And the Commander's Trophy will be that whichever group from whatever institution wins it gets to take it for a year. And they'll get an engraving on it. Next year it'll be up for grabs again. But we're going to have everything from one that you and I can walk. What do they call that? A walker.
I don't know, but I get the point.
But there'll be kids run and kids walks and stuff like that. And the ultimate goal of this thing is to raise money for veterans, and that's how I want to fund the habitat houses.
Okay.
If we can use their designs and build one a year, where we don't owe anything on it, then we can put a veteran in there at a reasonable price, and part of those funds go to a savings account that they can't get until they leave. They can, the rules are more or less what I'm thinking is they can come for the first year and get their life together. There is a couple of requirements that I think they need to do. One of them is take the Dave Ramsey course. Learn how to manage your money.
Right.
Find a good job. Go back to college, whatever. But plan, you and your wife plan for y'all's future, for a good future. Then when you find a house and you're able to use your GI Bill, now you'll have a little money because we're going to give you a check back for part of the money that you've paid.
We got some great ideas here.
I do. I want to live that gives me a reason to live. Everybody, they say people that live longer never run out of things to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the way I want to be. I want to be at 97 years old. I got to outlive my dad. My dad's 96. I want to be at 97 years old sitting here talking to you on the radio, planning the next thing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But anybody that wants to help,
Yeah.
Financially, whatever, we have an account with Wilson Bank and Trust. It is the Lebanon Veteran Center. So you can go by any Wilson Bank and give them a check for $10,000, $15,000, whatever your heart leads you to. But we're going to need other things. When we get into the building, we're going to need things from the military to hang on the wall. I've already got a nice portrait of the Vietnam Wall.
We're out of time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
615.
804-4404. You can come to Uncle Pete and talk to me in person.
Thanks so much for being
Thank
with
y'all.
us today.
Thank everybody in Wilson County.
All right. That's part one of Coleman and Company, presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Stay with us for more here on FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. It's $59.95 up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal. Tire rotation and safety check. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still a limited traffic volume spotted here coming up through the Hickory Hollow area from an earlier crash on 24 westbound, close to Bell Road. It's just wrong place, wrong time. There's just so much volume coming in from Rutherford County up through that area. Still looking good right now on I-40 in the Mount Juliet area out through Wilson County. A little bit of radar in parts of Wilson and Dixon County this morning. Hey, it's time to call Crest Pest Control. They do way more than your average pest control company. Check out a list of their services at crestpestcontrol.net. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
And now, a moment of silence to remember our dear friend.
Sorry. Oh, man. Life can be uncomfortable. Your home doesn't have to be. With a wide range of air conditioners, furnaces, and heat pumps, Rheem makes it easy to feel comfortable, even when you can't be comfortable. Jeez.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
What is your passion? How can you use that passion to enrich your community? Hi, this is Melanie Minter, President and CEO of the Lebanon Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Your chamber is the resource for making connections to fulfill your passion. Whether education, nonprofit, agriculture, entertainment, or government relations, Wilson County offers a place for you to be involved. Your chamber connects businesses, individuals, and your passion to the community. We have an enthusiasm for excellence. Join us and catch the spirit. Call or visit our office at 149 Public Square in Lebanon.
At Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, world-class care is a heartbeat away. In fact, we offer the same world-class attention Middle Tennessee has come to rely on from a Vanderbilt Health hospital. Supported by over 200 specialties, an expanded emergency department staffed with Vanderbilt Health physicians 24/7, and greater investments in life-saving technologies and care. It's just one more way we're making healthcare personal.
Warm weather and sunny skies if you're heading back to work following the holiday weekend. Temperatures in the 50s to start today, but we will be climbing quickly and looking for a high of 84 this afternoon. It's just a preview of what's to come later this week, reaching the upper 80s as we head into June. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm number one Ned.
Welcome to part two of Coleman and Company. It is a Tuesday, even though it may seem like Monday. The work week starts a day late, of course, because yesterday being Memorial Day. Hope you had a great weekend. I haven't mentioned Vanderbilt beating Florida, but to MJ's chagrin, we didn't want to lose 5 in a row. They won the first 4, but I guess you could say we wasn't the one that counted, but Florida is actually rated higher than Vanderbilt in the seedings for the NCAA baseball tournament. We are on the air now for Hearthside Senior Living, Retirement Assisted Living Community, 215 Castle Heights North, here in Lebanon, of course. Sean Dozier is the executive director. Sean told me last week, I think he is out of town and would not be here today. And if he designated somebody to come, they haven't made it yet. So we're going to just remind you a little bit about Hearthside. Hearthside's been around since 1994. And one way we remember that is by their telephone number, 615-443-1994. And a great location at 215 Castle Heights Avenue North here in Lebanon. It's Hearthside when it's time for a helping hand. You can go by for a personal tour, call and make an appointment if you like, but it's not necessary. Hearthside is our community's nonprofit assisted living provider. It is locally owned and managed. Many times it has been voted best in Wilson County. Hearthside Senior Living is rooted in ministry, serving senior citizens who desire a safe and beautiful environment with a Christian community. It was started by College Hills Church of Christ in 1994, as I said, and it continues to be a vibrant ministry of the church. Hearthside Senior Living includes assisted living and an independent retirement community. There's a long waiting list for that independent retirement community, but those who there love it, and unless something happens to take them out of it, they stay there a long time. And if you have desire to go there, get on the list. One of these days you might get a phone call. And the same goes for the assisted living, although right now they're pretty much full up from time to time, and opening happens, and whoever's at the top of the list gets called, and you go down the list till somebody makes the move. The assisted living community is a beautiful chalet-like atmosphere with a large dining and activity spaces. It includes small, medium, and large resident rooms. And its mission is to serve seniors in our community who need additional assistance with their everyday routines. Many years, actually since 1994, the assisted living community has been a blessing to many residents and families. And again, it's located in the heart of Lebanon on the historic Castle Heights Military Academy campus. You can call them again, 615-443-1994. Maybe better yet, go to their website, www.hearthsideliving.com. Again, Sean Dozier is executive director. He is doing, I think, a fantastic job. It stays full nearly all the time, and it's just Hearthside when you need a helping hand. So go by and see them, especially if it's somewhere you might want to go if it's necessary for this sort of care, or if you have family members that you are looking for a place, go by, check them out. Hearthside Senior Living, 215 Castle Heights Avenue North, right here in Lebanon, Tennessee. All right, this is a special day for us to have our Teacher of the Year. I have invited Joan Oxley to be here. She is with us this morning. Joan, good morning.
Good morning.
It is nice to have you, of course, and congratulations on being named the 2023 Teacher of the Year.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Of course, thanks to Cedarstone Bank and Wilson County Motors, who've been doing this for a long time. WP Bone, WP3, and Bob McDonald they started this many years ago, and most of the time I have been able to, at some point, have the Teacher of the Year out here like you are this morning, and it's been my pleasure to be able to do that. And they did a Teacher of the Year insert in one of our local posts. This is Wilson Post. Okay, Wilson Post did this great picture there of the three of you and holding up a replica of that check that you got for $3,000.
Yes, sir.
I know you're going to put that money to good use.
We are. We're buying a house, so that's going to help with that.
Well, let's talk about you. You are the Teacher of the Year, but I want to go back. Ask you from kind of start from the beginning. Where were you born? Where did you grow up?
I was born in South Carolina. Then we moved to Tennessee, and so I've been in Tennessee since I was 8 years old. Graduated from Laverne High School in '91. and married.
So did you mostly live in Rutherford County?
I did. Mostly lived in Rutherford County, but I married my high school sweetheart, and so we've been in Lebanon, we lived in Lebanon for 20-something years, and we just moved to Smith County about 6 years ago.
What attracted you to the teaching profession?
I had a rough childhood, and I had a 7th grade English teacher that asked what I wanted to do, and I had never thought about it, what I wanted out of my life. And I told her, I was like, well, I think I want to be a teacher. And she said, well, I think you'll do wonderful at that, and we need more great teachers. So that put me on my mindset that I wanted to be a teacher. And in fact, when I graduated from MTSU in 2002, that teacher was my very first principal. So she hired me. And so it's been wonderful. Oh, it was great. Loved her. Love her to death.
What are you doing now? What you pretty much studied in college to do?
I am. I always wanted to be a social studies teacher. When I was at Roy Waldron, I had a great 8th grade social studies teacher who made history fun for me. And I wanted to be like her, so I minored in history. And now I'm teaching 8th grade social studies.
Now, is social studies primarily history, or it is part geography too, isn't it?
There's some geography I do. I teach American history up to post-Civil War, Reconstruction era, so I constantly am looking at maps with my students to show them where the 13 colonies are and the Appalachian Mountains and how we went west and things like that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about your family here, because we might should have done that on the beginning, but it doesn't matter as long as we get it all in here, I guess. Tell us about your family.
I married my high school sweetheart, David. We've been married 31 years. We have 3 children. Kristen and her husband have 3 children.
So you're a grandmother.
I am a grandmother. I have 7 grandchildren. My son, Matt, and his wife, Haley, have 4 children. And then my youngest is Jonathan, and he is in Knoxville now. I actually taught for the past 4 years with my son, Matthew, at Watertown Middle School. So that's been very fun.
What about your husband?
He works for Johnson Controls. He's one of the reasons why I actually went to college. After we had our 3rd child, I wasn't in school or anything, and he was like, quit work, go to school, get your teaching degree. That's what you want to do. And that's what I did. And so for 4 years, I went to college and had 3 kids, and he took care of us.
That's a story in itself. That you were mother and you were student at the same time. That couldn't have been easy.
It wasn't, but I was determined, and he was determined to see me be a teacher. So when I graduated from MTSU, all 3 of my children were there. It was great.
Well, go through your career here. All the time that you've been a teacher, you've been in the classroom, right? And you still are? Is that?
No, I actually stepped out of the classroom for about a year to write lesson plans for the E410 program that Wilson County was with the state of Tennessee. Then went back into the classroom teaching language arts. I decided in 2014, I think, to step out and become an instructional coach. So I was instructional coach for about 3.5 years, and then went back into the classroom.
What's instructional coach do? What was that like?
That was very fun. I was at Tucker's Crossroads, so that's a K-8 school. And so I was able to work with teachers and students from kindergarten up through 8th grade. And it is just helping with modeling instruction. I worked with the RTI program, the Title I program, worked with parent workshops. Just anything that I needed to do, I was there.
The COVID situation came along, and hopefully we don't hear as much about that now. But How devastating was that, let's say, as far as learning goes and the finished product?
For me, when COVID happened, I was teaching 8th grade math and 8th grade social studies, so I had gotten to part of the year, but there were several things that I didn't cover. And so when those students started their 9th grade year, they were behind because, like with math, I didn't get to the geometry part of it. And then with social studies, it was right before the Civil War. So for me, they missed a big hunk of my standards. Personally, I just hated being away from my students. They're fun to be with, so.
It is time for us to take a break. Joan Oxley is my guest this morning. She is the 2022-2023 Teacher of the Year and was recognized recently, and we're glad to have her here today to find out a little bit more about her. And we're not through. We'll be back after this break with more on Coleman & Company FM 98.9.
And let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Absolute Kubota. They've got that sales blitz. 2 days left. 0% financing for 84 months on most models. Plus, add an attachment to your tractor, get implement bonus bucks up to $800 off, or take a cash discount of $2,400 on select models. This is for in-stock models only, and the blitz will end May 31st, which will be tomorrow. Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Minor accidents still in their clearing stages right now. We still see this heavy traffic volume making its way up through the Hickory Hollow area on 24 westbound, coming in from Rutherford County, Murfreesboro, headed towards Nashville. Watch for still some radar out here on I-40 through parts of Wilson County, especially in the Mount Juliet area. It's building just a bit. Vietnam Vets as you get on that ramp to 65 going southbound. Nash Painting, they service all of Middle Tennessee. If you want your house painted by professionals to get it done right the first time, check with these guys first. I'm telling you, I've known them for years. They are the best. NashPainting.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Get ready for the ultimate barbecue and country music festival, Barbecue Country Fest 2023. Join us in the smoke-filled, fire-breathing, steak-sizzling heaven on June 3rd at the Wilson County Fairgrounds in Lebanon. Hear country music stars Billy Dean, Chad Brock, and Andy Griggs perform live. Plus, John Party will be there filming the final episode of Barbecue Country and crowning a backyard barbecue champion. Get your tickets today at bbqcountry.com.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour.
Coleman & Company here on a Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us. We're just happy to have Watertown Middle School's Joan Oxley here, who was chosen the county's top educator, the Teacher of the Year recently. And let's talk about your school just a little bit. How long have you actually been where you are now?
4 years.
Okay, all right. So you know all about it in 4 years.
No.
What grades do you have?
Our school has 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Right. And you mostly in the 8th grade?
I am in 8th grade, yes.
Strictly
8th grade.
How many children in that school?
I would say it's about 300 and anywhere between 310 and 320.
Yeah, who's your principal?
Kayla Price.
Okay, all right. So what's a day like with you? How many you have? You don't do a classroom sitting up. Do you have different students coming in throughout the day? How's it go? Tell us about it.
We have six blocks.
Yeah.
And so I have my planning period, then second period starts my class rotation. So I have 4 core blocks of social studies. When we have our lunchtime, that's our focus and flex time too. So that's about 2 hours where the students are with us after lunch. Maybe not 2 hours. Maybe I'm stretching that a little bit. But so we work on SEL learning, just making connections with our students and having somebody there they can talk to. We also work on, that's a time for us to, if I need to reteach something or dive deeper into something with my social studies classes, then I can do that during that time.
Well, you no doubt, it's a learning process, and that's what teaching is all about. And when you can get them turned on about, in your case, social studies and all of this, getting their mind focused right is got to be part of it, and not worrying about what they're going to do after school or whatever. Are there certain methods you have learned to employ to really get their attention focused on the right thing?
I do a couple of things. One of the things is I do try my best to relate everything to their life. It's history, it's hard, but I can relate things to their life. But this past year, one of the things I did was we were about to start taxation without representation. And I remembered when I was at Tucker's teaching that the social studies teacher there would tax her students. She gave them little fake money, and she would tax them for things. So I decided I wanted to do that this year. And so I put on my little Winifred Sanford dress, and I borrowed a crown from a student, and I taxed them. And then I was able to get a lot of the exploratory teachers and the other 8th grade teachers, the counselor, the principals, all involved in it, just to where they could tax kids for whatever reason. And then, but they also had to give money, allow them to earn money. I was taxing them one day. They were wearing purple, and our school colors are purple and white, and they were wearing purple. And I was like, purple is a royal color, and you're not royalty, so you owe me $1. And they hated it. But the best thing about that was when I started talking about the Sons of Liberty and how they joined together and they started creating propaganda posters and stuff, they were like, Mrs. Oxley, can we create our own propaganda posters? And I went, of course you can. Go right ahead. So there were posters throughout the school, either for taxes, they called them Oxley bucks, either for the Oxley bucks or to end the Oxley bucks. They wanted to know when we were going to stop Oxley bucks. And I said, well, when you think about the colonies, how they needed to, a lot of things was happening in Boston, and it didn't impact Georgia per se as much as it did in Boston. So they had to get the whole country on their side. So you have to get the whole school on our side, on your side, to either stop Oxley bucks or not. So they were starting petitions and things like that. It was phenomenal. It was the best lesson ever, and they loved it. Well, they either loved it or hated it, but it was great.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us this morning. But to be innovative like that can be a greater learning opportunity, no doubt.
It is.
And something they're going to remember. And they'll remember what taxation without representation is all about, no doubt, because of what you did.
I hope so.
As far as the ceremony and the announcement that night, you've got 30-something people there who have been chosen Teacher of the Year in their respective schools. And, of course, you are one of those. Most of the time, they say, I was not expecting this. Do you have any idea you might be selected?
I was clueless, did not really think I would. It just wasn't in my scope of the possibilities that I would get this, because there were so many wonderful teachers there. And several of my friends were there as well. And I was like, you know what? If they got it, it's phenomenal. I'll just cheer for them. They deserve it too. So I was clearly, I was very nervous, but when I realized that it was me, I was like, oh, I'm about to pass out.
They read a little bit about, they don't tell, they lead up to the climax is at the very end as to who it is, telling all about you. And then at some point, I've had this happen to me a time or two when chosen, given an honor, and you don't know who it's going to be, but then you start listening, hey, they're talking about me, that's me. And a wonderful feeling.
It was, and what was funny was when they started reading what my assistant principal had written, she's sitting right beside me and she's like poking me. I didn't really read what she wrote, when I was submitting my application, I just gathered it and stapled it and put it in an envelope and turned it in.
Well, I understand there's a group at Cumberland who I think maybe names are
blacked out,
and they don't know who they have selected, but they've been doing this for quite some time, and I was just wondering, there's some time involved in making this application or telling all about yourself so they can pick a teacher of the year.
It is. There's an application you fill out, then you have to give your personal statement. They ask that you get, you don't have to, but they ask that you get a recommendation from your principal, a parent, a coworker, and either a former student or a current student, just to help them decide who would be the most qualified.
Yeah. All right, I want to ask you the future of education. We've had some controversial issues this year. You're probably glad you're not teaching third grade. And I want to get into that. But the future of education in your mind, is it overall good?
I think so. I think we learn from everything that's going on. And we can that's one of the best things about learning is you learn from mistakes and you change it and you move on to better it. I think we have some struggles, but overall, I feel like everybody wants what's best for the student success. And if we just keep that in our forethought, then I think it will
Well,
be okay.
one thing I have noticed, there's been additional funding for education, but one thing the legislature, I think, did this year, increased teacher pay. That surely doesn't make you mad.
No, it's nice. It will be nice.
But really, when I think, and I don't want to, I'm not knocking free enterprise and all of this, but some of the professional athletes, some of the astronomical salaries they can get because they can hit a baseball a far piece or throw a football well or throw the basketball in the hoop, and that it's like we're doing things backwards almost. People who are teachers should be rewarded as much as possible because the future really, in a way, is in your hands. The future citizens you're teaching, they're learning, and hopefully they're learning well. We have our problems, but I would think that with an increase in pay, and aren't they working on starting teachers, I believe, starting out at $50,000 a year. We're not there yet, I think, but that's the goal, I believe. That's got to make you feel good, and maybe younger people and encourage people to be in the teaching profession.
I think so too. And when I first started in Wilson County, I was making $28,000 a year. And now I want to say that for teachers with no experience, it's over $40,000. So we're almost at that $50,000 here in Wilson County.
Yeah. Well, as far as I think there's maybe a fairly good retirement program that we have, and I'm wondering, you got any plans anywhere near time for you to hang it up, or are you going to teach for a long time?
I'm still in it for a good 10 or 11 years till I hit that retirement age. So, and I love it. I love being with students. I love being with my coworkers. When we were out for COVID, my husband kept telling me, he was like, you've got to go back to work. Like you just have to go back to work. And so I love being with my school environment. So no, I'm not hanging my hat up yet.
Do you want to continue doing social studies, or will you in time branch off to something else? I sometimes I got too many questions. No, I was talking to Mayor Rick Bell one day. He taught history at Cumberland for a long time, and I said, in his case, he had 2 or 3 classes. I said, it's the same thing over and over for 3 or 4 times a day. Doesn't that get boring or whatever? How's that with you?
It doesn't get boring for me because each class is completely different. But I would like to branch out eventually to being an assistant principal. I did get my administrative license from Cumberland University, so I would like to be an administrator just to help more teachers. But I definitely want to stay in education.
Yeah, well, for sure, it's a team effort, and the more I would think that the everybody, the teachers, everybody at the whole school who are in any role, whether in the cafeteria, janitor, or whatever, if you're all kind of on the same page, have the same goal, and you have these children that you're really wanting to help and educate, then that's really what it's all about, right?
It is. And the staff at Watertown Middle School is phenomenal. Like everybody, we work together. We're happy being there. And I feel like a lot of that is from our leadership, from our principal and assistant principal, Kayla Price and Mrs. Carney. So,
John, we've come to the end of our time here this morning. Thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate having you, and certainly want to congratulate you again on being our Teacher of the Year. And of course, thank Wilson County Motors and Cedarstone Bank for what they did. And I'm glad you're putting that $3,000 to good. But that's really nice. And no doubt you're very thankful and very appreciative of all that's come your way since you've been named Teacher of the Year.
I am. Thank you so much.
Thanks again for being with us.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for Tuesday. We'll be back, if all goes well, tomorrow and do it all over again on a Wednesday. Until tomorrow, I wish you a terrific day.